past month, we've been building 2 AI trading bots from scratch. One designed to constantly evolve through tournaments, the other built around a single goal: become consistently profitable. Last week, things finally started looking promising. MIDAS had one of its strongest weeks yet, and after almost a week of refusing to trade, ICARUS finally came back to life. So naturally, this week we wanted to find out if that momentum would continue, because behind the scenes, this ended up becoming one of the biggest weeks of the entire project. Not because of huge profits, but because we finally started getting answers. The Week 5 scorecard. Let's start with the results. ICARUS finished this week at minus $26.82, while MIDAS finished it up $28.82. So for the first time in quite a while, MIDAS actually managed to finish this week green. Not by a huge amount, but considering where we started, I'll definitely take it. Meanwhile, ICARUS started trading again. After almost an entire week of sitting completely idle, it was finally collecting live market data once more. And honestly, that was the biggest win, because a bot that loses money can be improved. A bot that doesn't trade at all can't. So let's start with MIDAS. This week wasn't about adding flashy new strategies. In fact, we barely changed the bot at all. Instead, we wanted to answer one question: did last week's management fixes actually work? Turns out they did. One of the biggest changes we've made recently was introducing early profit protection. The idea was simple. Once a trade reaches about 0.3R in profit, start protecting it, instead of allowing it to reverse all the way back into a loser. For weeks, one of MIDAS's biggest problems wasn't bad entries. It was giving profitable trades back to the market. So we went through the data and the results were surprisingly clear. Stage 0 trades dropped dramatically. Nearly every trend follow trade actually reached management. Reversal after profit trades basically disappeared. And most importantly, trend follow expectancy actually turned positive. For the first time, we had proof that our management system was genuinely improving the strategy. But that wasn't the biggest discovery. We also analyzed roughly 60 trading days, looking for something completely different: daily profit locks. Our current system stopped trading after making $100. The problem? It never triggered. Not once. But something interesting happened around the $20 mark. MIDAS reached plus $20 on nearly half of its trading days. The problem? More than half of those profitable days eventually gave back profits, sometimes finishing negative. So we simulated different profit lock values. $10 actually made things worse. $15 improved the results, but $20 produced the best overall improvement, even outperforming higher profit locks, meaning the sweet spot appears to be around $20 per day. That single discovery could dramatically improve consistency going forward. Another big milestone happened behind the scenes. Risk management started moving out of the launcher and into the web dashboard. Things like daily profit lock, bridge settings will eventually all live inside Lovable, which means fewer local configuration files and much easier overall control over live accounts. We made a decision that some people probably won't agree with. We completely disabled Bitcoin. After reviewing months of trading data, Bitcoin simply wasn't pulling its weight. It consistently reduced overall profitability, so instead of forcing it to work, we're focusing everything on gold, where we've actually found an edge. Perhaps my favorite part of this week though was what we didn't do. We didn't spend the week chasing bugs. We didn't rewrite half the system. We mostly observed, validated, collected data, and honestly, that might be the biggest sign yet that MIDAS is finally becoming a stable trading system instead of an endless experiment. Hey guys, Studio Devolt here for a second to tell you about today's sponsor, Weekly. Now if you're anything like me, your life is probably scattered across about 17 different places right now. You've got tasks in your notes app, ideas in your WhatsApp messages you send to yourself at 2 in the morning, random screenshots you'll definitely forget to look at again, 27 browser tabs you swear are important, and somehow a sticky note on your desk that's been there since March. You know that feeling when you know you wrote something down, you just can't remember where. That's exactly why I started using Weekly. Instead of trying another massive productivity system, Weekly is just one place to keep your life together. Your tasks, your notes, your reminders, your budgeting, even your AI assistant. Everything lives in one place, so you're not constantly trying to remember where you saved something. And unlike other apps like Notion, opening Weekly doesn't feel like you've accidentally started a second job. It's simple, it's clean, and it actually helps you feel more organized instead of less. If you'd like to check it out for yourself, head over to myweekly.co.za and use the code CAPITALINSIDER for 15% off. Subscriptions start at just $5 per month, which is about 20% of what you'd be paying for another app. Thanks again to Weekly for supporting the channel. Now let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about ICARUS, because last week this bot was basically dead. It would go for days without taking a single trade, and it became pretty obvious the problem wasn't strategy anymore, it was infrastructure. So that's exactly where we focused. The first half of the week was spent rebuilding the engine. Several new versions shipped, including build ID fixes, health monitoring improvements, and what I lovingly called the nuclear min lot patch. Not exactly glamorous, but absolutely necessary. The biggest architectural change was reducing the entire tournament down to just 4 champion strategies. Instead of letting dozen unfinished ideas compete, our best performers remained. Trades by Psy version 2.5, Trades by Psy version 3, Trend Exhaustion Fade version 2.5, Trend Exhaustion Fade version 3. Now they're competing head to head to determine which deserves capital. Then came probably the biggest breakthrough. Earlier this week, risk controls were blocking almost everything. Minimum lot failures, profile failures, candidate rejections. Trade after trade never even reached the market. But after the new risk patch, those blocks completely disappeared. Risk blocks 0, session blocks 0, meaning for the first time in ages, ICARUS could actually do its job. And once that happened, everything changed. Instead of sitting idle, the engine suddenly exploded back to life. More than 300 candidates generated, over 150 live trades open, almost all of them already closed. Which means we're finally collecting meaningful live data again instead of staring at empty dashboards. We've also built something I've wanted for a long time. A proper health dashboard. Instead of digging through thousands of log lines, we can instantly see how many candidates were created, how many trades were opened, how many closed, whether the governor is blocking trades, whether risk controls are active, everything one place. But fixing one bottleneck usually reveals another, and that's exactly what happened. The strategy governor is now generating hundreds of thousands of blocked events. Not because the bot is broken, but because strategies keep trying to evaluate while another position is already active. It's creating huge amount of log spam and potentially causing missed opportunities. So that's probably next week's biggest target. We also noticed something really interesting. Version 2.5 and version 3 of the same strategy love taking almost identical trades, sometimes just seconds apart. Great for research, terrible for production. So next week, we'll probably introduce family prioritization, allowing only the best version of a strategy to enter, instead of letting sibling strategies pile into the exact same move. So what did we actually learn this week? For MIDAS, trade management is no longer the biggest problem. The remaining challenge is improving trade selection, finding better entries, better sessions, and filtering out trades that never should have happened in the first place. For ICARUS, the opposite happened. The engine is finally healthy. Now we need to make it smarter. Less duplication, better portfolio allocation, and cleaner execution, because collecting data is only the first step. So, looking ahead, MIDAS is preparing for what I'm probably most excited about, Replay Lab. A system that will replay months of historical market data through the exact same execution engine we use live, meaning we'll finally be able to compare strategy versions, test management changes, run parameter sweeps, and optimize without risking real money. Meanwhile, ICARUS moves into its next phase, not getting it to trade, getting it to trade better. Week 5 wasn't defined by massive profits. It was defined by progress. MIDAS proved its management system actually worked. ICARUS finally came back to life, and for the first time, it feels like we're no longer consistently putting out flames. We're actually starting to optimize. So if you want to see whether these bots can actually become consistently profitable, make sure you're subscribed. And while you're down there, leave a like and let us know in the comments below which bot do you think is going to end up winning this challenge by week 6. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, happy investing.